into the hunt. The thing about the hunt is, it starts with a prowl. It takes early mornings, hard work, sweat, and grit to get to your prey.
This is us versus us, all right? It's not about that team out there, it's about everybody in here.
The hunt is best when it's shared. Your brother beside you is what pushes you to get out there.
Nobody outside of this circle matters tonight, all right? Play for the brother beside you, and let's go get this done.
The hunt ain't for the faint of heart.
You don't focus on the scoreboard, focus on the love of your brother.
You have to see the obstacle as an opportunity to get where you want.
We put 9 weeks in the summer to earn an opportunity. It's an opportunity for you guys to grow closer together. That matters. But what's on the backside of that chain right there is still the work that needs to come.
And the best part of the hunt is when you step into the blind.
Remember why we're playing. Remember what we're about. And you keep striking that stone.
The anticipation builds as you look your prey into the eyes.
This right here is a divine appointment. We're not here by chance. Every one of y'all is supposed to be here. Every one of us is supposed to be here.
Time begins to freeze as you look down your sight.
Play action, Salter throws end zone, touchdown! Salter into the end zone, and it's being picked off. He will escape the pocket. Walks in the end zone, touchdown, Liberty. C.J. Daniels at the 10, spins at the 5, lunges end zone, touchdown, Liberty.
If y'all want something, it's standing right outside those gates. If you want something, you take it. Give them nothing. Take from them everything. Everything you got.
Jumping attempt and a catch made. Right him up. And it's going to be picked off. Dancing to the 10. Right him up. Touchdown, Liberty.
And in that moment, one shot, one opportunity, one decision, and the hunter's dream is realized.
You were born with greatness inside of you. You were born for opportunities like tonight. Let that greatness be unleashed. It's our time.
It's time to go duck hunting.
Welcome to Flames Central Game Day, brought to you by Earthright Mid-Atlantic. Well, beautiful State Farm Stadium in Arizona. Flames Nation is there. Cannot wait for game time. Hey there, friends. Happy New Year. Welcome on into the Flames Central Studios. Rhett McGibbon here alongside Pat Kelly. We'll be met by Matt Warner, Emily Austin, and Joe Yock out in Arizona in just a little bit. But Pat, it has arrived. New Year's 6 bowl game is here for Liberty University, the Verbo Fiesta Bowl. And let's go back to like September, the summer. If I told you, hey, the Flames are going to be in a New Year's 6 bowl, what would have been your response to me?
I would laugh out loud like I did just now. I would tell you you're absolutely off your rocker. You're probably playing Homer Liberty fan if you're saying you're going undefeated, you're going to be playing New Year's 6. You couldn't have expected this from a team with a new coaching staff, new players coming in. You could not have called this. I mean, very, very grateful to be here, but I could never in a million years have predicted this.
Yeah, so much has gone right for the Flames this season. You talked about the roster turnover. That was huge, over 50%. And then there's a lot of questions at quarterback, too. Caden Salter, would he be the guy? And he has come out this season. We'll talk more about him in just a few minutes, but he has really showed out this year for LU.
I can't sing his praises enough, looking at the development from last year to this year, not having to worry about looking over his shoulder. Hey, if I throw a pick, am I going to get benched? Is someone going to come into the game? To see his maturation, to see the consistency that he started to establish. He's throwing the ball on time, on target. I've been really impressed with Salter this year.
All right, so far at the FBS level, the Flames have made a bowl game each and every season. Let's go back to the first one. They weren't guaranteed a bowl game in this one, but they would make it. 2019 Cure Bowl versus Georgia Southern. The Flames take it by a score of 23-16. 2020, back in the Cure Bowl, this time a win against a familiar foe, Coastal Carolina, and now the Flames head coach, Jamie Chadwell.
Yeah, I'm sure Coach Chadwell remembers that game pretty fondly. Probably wants to forget about that one just a little bit. But, as we're talking about these bowl games, I'm looking back and kind of just the embarrassment of riches we've had at quarterback. You've gone from Buckshot Calvert to Malik Willis to now Caden Salter stepping in. This is just a very loaded team. The bowl success has really spoken for itself.
Yeah, it's been huge. Flames would win the Lending Tree Bowl. That was a wild one because Flames were on a bit of a spill going into the bowl game that year. Last year, Boca Raton Bowl losing to Toledo 29-21. But this year, the Fiesta Bowl. What does a bowl in the New Year's Six, what does it do for the notoriety of the Liberty program?
I can't really even put into words exactly what it means. You think about from my last season playing in 2012, you're at the FCS level, you're fighting for a playoff spot in the FCS playoffs. You fast forward a little bit over a decade, now you're playing in the New Year's Six. The first thing that stands out to me is the opportunities for recruiting. Right. You have a tremendous opportunity. You've got all of the country's eyes on you, watching you on New Year's Day. It's a chance to really put this program on the map. They've had this exponential rise so far, and this can really just continue to put them over the edge.
Now, Liberty is a bit of an underdog coming into today's game. Some people are saying David versus Goliath. But let's go back in history a little bit, Pat. One of your favorite games all time, the 2007 Fiesta Bowl, Boise State versus Oklahoma.
I will never forget this game. I'm in my parents' house in the living room, probably screaming like a lunatic as I'm watching the game. Boise State, like you mentioned, David versus Goliath. They should not have been in this game, playing against Oklahoma and an Adrian Peterson Oklahoma team. A lot of people remember Adrian Peterson for the Vikings in the NFL. Jared Zabransky, quarterback, comes out, throws for over 270 yards. Ian Johnson wins the game on a Statue of Liberty. Yes, pun intended there with Liberty. They're able to win that game. I will never forget watching that. Just an absolute thriller. David came out on top over Goliath.
And then even last year, 2022, the Cotton Bowl, Tulane, who a lot of Flames Nation were hoping would stumble down the line, and they eventually did so, putting the Flames where they are today. They took on USC and knocked them off as well.
This is another example of a game that I never would have foreseen happening. I'm thinking you've got this giant, you've got Caleb Williams, who won the Heisman that season, who came out and threw for almost 500 yards. There's no way Tulane's going to win this game, right? You're a G5, you shouldn't be there. Michael Pratt at quarterback. Tajay Spears rushed the ball 17 times, over 200 yards, 4 touchdowns. They came out on top. That was another game back and forth. Tulane scored 32 second-half points to come out on top. Again, a thriller of a game to watch.
Yeah, and we were kind of chatting about this, the fact that Boise State, from that moment on when they knocked off Oklahoma, things started to go right for them. Not necessarily the next year. They won, that was the 2006 season. It was the 2007 Fiesta Bowl in which they had that big upset over Oklahoma. But following that, the next 3 years, that program really took off. They had a moment where a perfect season for them, and they were high in the rankings. And you kind of wonder, a G5 program like that, can the same happen for Liberty?
Yeah, that's exactly right. You look at those following seasons. In 2008, they went 12-1, Boise State did. In 2009, 14-0, and another Fiesta Bowl. Yeah. 2010, they went 12-1. 2011 went 12-1. Being on this stage has the chance, again, recruiting prospects. It does a ton to bring money into the school. A win for Liberty could really take this program over the mountain.
Yeah, exciting day as Liberty's taking on Oregon. Exciting times out west as well. Let's go to our Flames Central team out in Arizona.
The big day is finally here. The Fiesta Bowl. You know it's a big game when you bring out the red suit.
Red suit's money.
Oh, yeah. The Flames red. Joe even went to the store and got a nice button up. Oh, yeah. We're ready to go. It's
ready to roll.
Day. It has been such a fun week here in Arizona. I'm not really sure if we're going to come back. I want to bring back a cactus. I love all the cacti.
Nice.
They're so cute. But yeah. Practice has been at an all-time high in terms of intensity. I think the guys are really, really ready to play in this big game.
They are, and the fan base has shown up in an incredible way. We went out to the pep rally a couple of nights ago. It was like the biggest family reunion you've ever been to. I saw players from year one, 1973, to guys that graduated just a year or two ago, all interacting, all sharing memories. It was such a cool experience. And then Sunday morning, the church service they had for all the fans. It has been. It's felt like a family reunion. It's felt like the culmination of so many years. You talk about the vision and how far this program has come over the years. it just felt like a special time for the entire family.
I loved the stories. Yeah, all the stories.
I mean, we had Ann on from 1971 on the podcast, right? A founding member up on the mountain. So it was, like to say, an old school reunion, but meets all the new school of Liberty University. So you could sense the love and the unity that was there at the pep rally last night.
And I think the best part about it is everyone that you're talking to from back in those 70, those early days, it was the vision that Dr. Falwell cast, and we're seeing it come to light, and it's been really, really cool to experience. And what's been your favorite moment so far, Joe?
I'll tell you what, doing the podcast out here has been a lot of fun, but I think that by far my most favorite thing is just seeing all the different people. Like there's been so many different people from so many different generations, and guys that I've coached in football back at Liberty in the 90s to the new people. It's just like you can feel that spirit of joy that there is from Liberty University.
What about you, Matt? What's your favorite moment so far?
I think the cool thing for me has been seeing the faces of the players when they walk into like the press conference setting. Like it feels like you're at the Super Bowl. It really does. And just to see their eyes get big as they realize that they're literally on one of the biggest stages in college football being out here. You go from, for some of these guys, we talked to Noah Frith 6 years ago, how far they've come, what he's been able to experience up until now, and it's just so cool to see these guys reap the rewards of all their hard work.
Yeah, and they know that they deserve to be here, the Flames. Yeah. They feel confident. We have a lot of great coverage coming your way about, the week and the press conferences and all of that, so we're excited to share that with all of you, guys.
Looks like a lot of fun out west. Good to see Flames Nation representing as well. All right, let's dive into this Oregon Ducks team, Pat. And this is a group that's had a really successful season. When you look at it, they only played one FCS team on the year, and after that, it was all Power Fives. Yeah, you look at the resume. They played, I want to say it's 5 or 6 ranked teams this season. They knocked off 3. Of course, their only 2 losses being to a Washington team that is in the college football playoff. They had their own Heisman Trophy finalist in Michael Penix Jr. on their team. So, I mean, the resume certainly speaks for itself, and they are, I think what stands out to me the most is just how explosive this team is. I know we'll talk about that in just a little bit, but this offense is dynamic. Yeah, let's go ahead and get into this with our Century Scouting Report here. The offense of this Oregon Ducks team, led by Bo Nix, like you just said, this is a team that can put a hurting on you and do it really quick. Yeah, I mean, if you look at the statistical breakdown here, in terms of scoring offense, they're second in the country, averaging 44 points per game. In terms of passing yards per game, 343, again, second in the country. What stands out to me, though, this season is 21 of their 72 touchdowns are in less than 2 minutes. Wow. So this offense, they take the field and they can score quick, fast, and in a hurry. 40 of their 72 touchdowns took less than 3 minutes. We know Liberty's offense likes to take a little time off the clock. They dominate possession. Not necessarily the case for Oregon. They can come out and they can score points very, very quickly. Yeah, time of possession has been a big talking point this year for the Flames. How big of a role is that going to play into today's game? I think it's massive for Liberty. I think this is a game that Liberty is going to want to slow down just a little bit. In my opinion, Liberty needs to have the ball for 40-plus minutes in this game, keeping that explosive Oregon Ducks offense off of the field. It also gives your offensive line a chance to kind of get things going. Those hog mollies down in the trenches there, getting some push. It keeps your defense fresh, and you're going to have to keep your defense fresh against an Oregon team that runs a lot of plays and, like we said, has those explosive plays. Now, Liberty, you talked about Oregon being a passing-based team. Flames, on the other hand, ground and pound all day. Yeah, I really couldn't think of polar opposites any more than this Oregon versus Liberty matchup. Oregon throws the ball about 55% of the time. Liberty runs the ball 70% of the time. I jokingly call them like the Navy or the Army of the spread offense. They do it a little bit differently, but this option offense is lethal. Like we talked about, first in the country, averaging over 300 rushing yards per game, near the top of the country in time of possession. We like to keep this offense on the field, and why not? Because you're scoring 40-plus points a game. So it's going to be important for Liberty to keep the rock in this game and keep that Oregon offense off the field. Now, this is a Liberty team that has met the challenge they have faced, especially offensively, each and every game this season. In a game like this, when you're taking on the number 8 team in the country, Oregon, a prestigious program throughout their time at the FBS level, does Liberty, in your opinion, have what it takes again today to meet that challenge? Yeah, I think it's going to be tough. I think when you look at the matchup here, it's going to be strength on strength. Like we said, Liberty runs the ball very, very well, 300-plus yards on the ground per game. On the flip side, Oregon in the trenches, that D-line, those linebackers, they do a terrific job in stopping the run, breaking Oregon down. They allow less than 100 rushing yards per game. Wow. That's 12th in the country. So I think it's strength on strength. I think Liberty's got the big men up front. Oregon's got some
freaks in terms of defensive line, defensive ends, the linebackers. It will be a tall task. I think if Liberty is going to come out with a win in this one, going to have to keep that offense on the field.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch. Also, the Flames, great when it comes to the turnover battle. Now, in this case today, Oregon, extremely impressive when it comes to not turning the ball over. With more on that, we head back out west to Matt and Joe.
All right, Joe, you talk to any football coach, ask them what's the key to the game. What do you always hear?
Yeah,
turnover
baby.
battle.
Yeah.
This Oregon team doesn't turn it over much. Just 7 turnovers on the year, one of the stingiest teams in all of college football. But the Flames have had a knack for forcing turnovers on the season. How do the Flames get their hands on the football? How do they force some turnovers against the Ducks?
You know what? Sure, they don't turn over much.
Right.
Ask me if I can, okay? Because the Flames are about ready. That is going to be the key of the game.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, Oregon's playing a brand new freshman center. That makes a big difference. And I think what Liberty's got to do is in their practice like this, they've got to be able to pick their spots.
Okay.
And they pick their spots when they bring their pressures. Because if they can catch them off with an offensive line that has to communicate with each other, that are not used to not having their Remington Award-winning center there, and you get a free runner, you pick your spots, all you need is 2. You need to have two plays, two turnovers.
Sorry.
You get 2 turnovers. Talking to Skylar McGee, you get 2 turnovers, and you get them to punt 3 times. With the Liberty offense, you're going to have a chance to be in this football game with the opportunity to win at the end.
Now, we talked to Bo Nix about this Liberty defense and said, hey, boy, look at all the interceptions. What do you see? Basically, he kind of just brushed it off and was like, looks like quarterbacks throw them the ball a lot. Like, they throw it right to him. I don't know if he sees them being as dangerous as maybe we believe they are based on what we've seen throughout the year.
Yeah, I mean, Bo Nix basically, when he started out, he said, do you want my honest answer? And his honest answer, without coming out and saying it, was they haven't faced a quarterback like me.
Right, that's true.
And it is very true. But yet at the same time, it does go back to saying that, hey, if you can get him off his spot, make him uncomfortable, get that first interception, get in his head a little bit, you may have the opportunity to do it.
Turnovers are key. The Flames, every time they've been in a big spot this season,
Find a way.
Think about the conference championship game, the Brandon Bishop interception late in that one. They found a way to get it done.
Middle Tennessee State.
Sam
Houston breakouts.
That's right.
I mean, everything.
We'll see if they can do it once again on the biggest stage. Guys.
Thank you, Matt and Joe. Joe, tan is getting darker as the days go by out there. Hey, let's talk about the turnover battle here really quick. In your opinion, a game like this, what's the turnover margin need to be like in order for the Flames to have a solid chance of this game?
I think it's got to be 2+.
Okay.
We talked earlier about that 2007 Fiesta Bowl versus Boise State and Oklahoma. Boise State won that turnover battle 5-2.
Wow.
They generated 5 turnovers against Oklahoma in that game, and they were able to squeak out a 1-point win. Again, a David versus Goliath matchup here. I think it's going to be important that Liberty wins by 2. With that being said, Liberty can't turn the ball over either. So it's got to be 0 turnovers for Liberty and 2+ generated against Oregon. I'm telling you, this Oregon offense is explosive. Another thing we'll talk about a little bit later is just this Oregon defense as well. 6 times this year they've allowed less than 10 points, so it is a very tall task. But in terms of turnovers, Liberty's got to come away with +2 in that category.
It does seem like, though, this Flames team has, when their back has been against the wall, they have come up with that big turnover throughout this season.
They absolutely have. One of the games that really stands out in my mind was that Sam Houston game, where very much a bend, don't break. Sam Houston had to go 99 yards to try and win that game. Fortunately, they only went 96, and Liberty just came up time and time again at the goal line. We're able to get some timely turnovers, but this is a Liberty defense that, they have coached turnovers into this defense.
Yes.
You'd love to watch it.
For sure. All right, it's time to go to now our Field Pass, brought to us by Carl Miller Realty. And when we look at this group, you can talk about Bucky Irving, and I think that was what everybody would expect us to go to that point, running back most yards on the team. But instead, we're going to look at Jordan James, the backup running back. He has been special this year.
Yeah, he really has. You mentioned Bucky Irving to kick things off. Of course, declared for the NFL draft. I think a lot of fans were thinking, sweet, he's not playing in this bowl game. Unfortunately, he is playing, so it's going to be good on good matchup. But you look at Jordan James, you just plug this guy in. He actually has more rushing touchdowns than Bucky Irving does. He averages 7.1 yards per carry. He's got 11 touchdowns on the season. This guy is absolutely dynamic. He's a guy, he can run through you. He can also get to the edge, get to the corner, and split 180 yards around the corner. So it's going to be interesting. Liberty's got to set the edge on this guy.
And when we go to the Flames, Quentin Cooley has been dynamic all season long. And my question for you is this: how much more can you ask of him, and what do you need from him on this day?
The first thing I would say, he's got to have ball security. Oregon's going to come in trying to rip that thing out. He's been pretty good so far this season in terms of protecting the rock. He just stay consistent. He's averaged 6 yards per carry. He's really been the bell cow. We talked about that a little bit earlier in the season.
That's right.
He's got 16 touchdowns on the season. He's got to be that guy that can ram it inside so that it opens up some of that option game on the outside so that you let Caden Salter and Aaron Bedgood kind of use their speed on the edge. He's got to establish that inside zone, the inside run game, so that it opens things up on the outside.
Yeah, you mentioned you think the Ducks are going to pack the box on this day. What are his chances for Quentin Cooley being able to find some wiggle room? And we've seen the yards per carry this season being 5. Like, that's an insane number. I'm not expecting 5 on a day like this when you're going up against high-end competition, but does he have the X factor to get it done?
I think he has the X factor, but I would maybe take a step back. It's going to be the offensive line that has to be the X factor. Those 5 guys, 6 guys across the board, they're going to be the ones that need to get pushed. If they can make it where he's not being contacted until 2+ yards downfield, he's always falling forward with the ball. He's a little bit of a bowling ball there. I don't know if I've ever seen him tackled backwards. He's always falling forward. That's what you want in your running back, but I think that X factor is going to be the offensive line.
All right, turning our attention now to Freedom First Inside the Numbers. It's the matchup everybody's excited for, the quarterback matchup. Bo Nix, it feels like he's been around forever, if I'm being 100% honest. Only 23 years old, expected to be a late first rounder in the upcoming draft. But Bo Nix, as soon as he went from Auburn to Oregon, something changed in this young man, and he has been a lights-out quarterback ever since.
He really has. We talked about this. A Heisman Trophy finalist. You saw him up there on the stage. Didn't come away with it as Jaden Daniels from LSU ended up winning. To even be there, to be in the conversation, says enough for itself. The thing that I really respect about his game is he is terrific running the football. He keeps plays alive with his legs, but in terms of all active quarterbacks, he leads all quarterbacks in rushing touchdowns with 38 in his career. Wow. So he's proven to be effective on the ground. As a passer, it speaks for himself. He's number 1 in the country in completion percentage, completing over 77% of his passes. That's unheard of. I mean, that's like your Tom Brady, Drew Brees type numbers there. His numbers speak for themselves. He's got over 16,000 career yards. I'll say that again. 16,000 career yards in his career between Auburn and Oregon now. I mean, he's proven it time and time again. I believe today will be his 60th start, which again is number 1 amongst all quarterbacks ever.
That's impressive. Now, this is a Liberty team that has had some struggles against quarterbacks that can get it out of the pocket quickly. Is Bo Nix capable of this?
Bo Nix is the most lethal quarterback that they will have seen so far this year. We saw Vadiato from Middle Tennessee State. Yeah. We saw Austin Reed. We saw Hank Bachmeier from Louisiana Tech. Bo Nix, hands down, takes the cake there. I mean, he's an SEC caliber player that we've seen, obviously transferred from Auburn to Oregon. He is the most dangerous guy with his legs. And again, he's similar to a Caden Salter in that he's keeping his eyes always downfield to find the open guy. But when he decides to tuck it and run, you better get there fast.
All right, you go from one SEC caliber player, and I'll argue to another. That is Caden Salter, originally with Tennessee, now at Liberty, second Flames quarterback to have gone SEC to the Liberty Flames. Now, he's had a terrific season all year long. Again, he's gotten it done with his legs and his arm, and this is his biggest challenge today.
It really is. We talk about this Oregon defense up front. 8 times this year, they have held opponents to less than 100 rushing yards. 6 times this year, total offense, they've given up less than 200 yards. So he certainly has his work cut out for him. What I'm interested to see is, can he go over 250 passing yards? Because if he does, then he's in that elite company, right. 11 or 12 guys that have passed for 3,000, rushed for 1,000, joining the likes of Johnny Manziel, Lamar Jackson, several guys that, they're in the NFL, my gosh. I think he's got what it takes. I think he's going to use his legs a lot in this game. If he's able to break, contain, and keep plays alive, look for some explosive plays from this Liberty team today.
Caden Salter seems to be the kind of athlete that when the lights are brightest, he is able to step up, and he's done that throughout the season this year. You saw him against New Mexico State in the Conference USA Championship game. Flames needed a spark. They needed their guy to get going, and Caden Salter was able to do that. In the Fiesta Bowl, again, I know it's a different level of competition, but when you've watched him all season long, I personally have no doubt. I think he's going to be able to rise to this occasion. Do you see those elements in him as an elite athlete that he has the capability of doing this?
You call guys like this gamers.
Right.
The best athletes step up when their best is required. I absolutely think he will step up. Again, it helps that he has a very good offensive line. Top 3 in the country in tackles for loss allowed. Top 2 in terms of sacks allowed. So that should give him a little bit of ease thinking, okay, I don't have to necessarily worry about fleeing the pocket. Am I going to get hit? I think that helps tremendously. The other thing that I think he has going in his favor is this offensive coaching staff. Between Coach Willie Korn, Jamie Chadwell, they do a terrific job of scheming things up, as evidenced by averaging 40-plus points per game, being a top 5 offense in yardage. I think they're going to put him in the best chance to win. They're going to give him some easy throws. They're going to design things so he can be successful. I could see him having a big game today.
Well, one thing's for sure, the Ducks are going to be prepared. Dan Lanning is going to have his X's and O's in order. And with more on that, we head out west to Emily Austin.
The Ducks were just a few plays away from getting into the playoff and playing for a national championship. Oregon head coach Dan Lanning said that disappointment doesn't leave your system. It's something that you think about constantly, but it needs to be your fuel for the future, and the next opportunity for the Ducks is a Fiesta Bowl victory.
Anybody that's a competitor wants that opportunity to go out there and compete, and I think a lot of people will sit there and say, what are you playing for? Like an opportunity to go play with your brothers one last time, an opportunity to win 12 games for the 5th time in Oregon history. There's a lot of reasons to get to go do that, and guys like Brandon and Bucky, at one point, I think Bucky was kind of like unsure what he wanted to do, and I said, hey, sleep on it, man. Think on it. This is your decision. These are tough decisions to make, and he came back and said, I wouldn't feel right in my stomach if I didn't play in this game. Like, it bothered me, even thinking about the possibility of not, competing in this game. And that's the kind of guys, that's the way they're wired. Speaks volumes about what they want to do and what the legacy they want to leave here at Oregon when they're done playing.
But Oregon will need to take down an undefeated Liberty team that is hungry for an upset. It was interesting. At the press conference, no one was asking Coach Lanning about the actual game, but the respect for Liberty is there.
Well, this isn't a lesser opponent. I'll tell you that. It's the first thing you do when you turn on your film. You see a really good football team. They lead the nation in rushing yards, over 300 yards per game. They get more interceptions than anybody else in the nation. They have a quarterback that can create explosive plays. Several of the players on their team started off at Power 5 schools, and I don't know if everybody realizes this, they've won every single game they've played. So that's a pretty good team. And our players recognize that. So it doesn't take any extra motivation. You're competing against yourself every single day when you step, whether it's on the practice field or on the football field, and our guys understand that. But it's about putting our best foot forward, having some pride and performance about what we want to accomplish. And what we know is it's going to take a really good showing from us to be able to compete well with Liberty in this game.
And it's not only Coach Lanning who has respect for this Flames team. I spoke with multiple Oregon players, and they're not taking Liberty lightly. It won't be an easy win, but the Ducks want to win and end their season on a high note, and the odds are in their favor.
Thanks, Emily. It's for sure the Ducks look prepared and focused for this game here today in the Fiesta Bowl. And this is a Coach Dan Lanning, that it seems like he always has his team ready to go defensively.
Yeah, he really does. I think what stands out to me is just the meteoric rise of Coach Lanning. 21-4 since joining Oregon, but he's really risen from being a high school coach to being at Pitt to Arizona State. He made his way from Bama to Georgia, and then a little fun fact, he coached the #1 ranked Georgia Bulldogs defense their national championship season, allowing just 10 points per game. This is a very, very well-coached team, and I think we're going to see them on display today.
Yeah, great defensive coach, great defense in this group. Defensive line is spectacular. Also spectacular, their offensive line. The Buffet Boys have gotten it done this season, and with more on that, once again, we go to Matt and Joe in the desert.
This Oregon team, they've only surrendered 5 sacks all season. Bo Nix is more comfortable in the pocket than Joe is in his slip-on Skechers right now. And that is going to be key. I had to do it. That is going to be a key to this game. We talked about the turnovers, but also, can that defensive line find a way to generate a little bit of pressure against a team that has given up virtually none all year?
I don't think you're going to be able to do it in your regular 3- and 4-man pressures. I think what you're going to see Liberty do is they're going to have to take some chances. I think you're going to see some inside linebacker blitz. You're going to see some what they like to refer to defensively as some exotics, where potentially bring a corner blitz, something that can confuse Oregon a little bit and put them off schedule. Now, the other side of that is you leave yourself susceptible right there.
Sure.
But I think that's the goal. In order to, with a young center playing for Oregon, I think that they're going to have to mix up their blitz packages and pressures in order to try to put Bo Nix offset.
Now, and on the other side, we talk about Liberty offensively now. You think that there's a path to victory for them offensively? They have a chance to move the ball against this Oregon D.
Yeah, I think it's like if you ask Grandma to make cookies for the president, right? Yeah. You don't change the recipe.
Right.
You don't do anything extra to the recipe. And I think the Liberty recipe has been an offensive line led by Bill Durkin, running the ball in between the tackles, and then you got K Salt making plays the way he makes plays plays, throwing the ball downfield to CJ Daniels, to Noah Freth, and you just stick to your recipe. If you stick to your recipe, what got you here, you are going to have the opportunity to score points on a very good Oregon defense. Because when you talk to these defensive backs, they've got a little healthy respect for this Liberty offense that can score a lot of points. So it's going to be interesting to see how that one plays out.
You know, something I've been saying all week, best case scenario I feel like for the Flames, win the toss, take the ball.
Oh, you're going taking
take it
There's
and,
no
try to go in front.
Matt Warren deferring
I don't want to get in a spot where I feel like I have to be matching scores. Yeah. I want to see if I can play from out front.
Make the early statement.
Make the statement. We'll
Love
see.
it.
We'll see if they're able to make that statement.
Scared money don't make no money is what you're saying, Matt.
That's exactly. I thank you for summarizing that so well. We'll find out. We'll find out if they're able to get the job done here shortly, guys.
When the Flames saw their logo flash on the screen to be playing in the Fiesta Bowl, the celebration started. But then they saw the logo and who they were playing, the Oregon Ducks. Head coach Jamie Chadwell knows that this is not only the best team the Flames have seen this season, but one of the best teams in the nation.
It doesn't take a lot of time to watch the video to know how talented they are. If you look at 3 phases, we've shared with them, and I think I've said it before. They're 6 points away from playing for a national championship. That's how good they are. And going into, I think, championship weekend, they were the favorites to win the national championship. So they're tremendous. The thing that we don't see, that we've not seen consistently throughout the year, is the size and the speed that they have, right? At all positions, not just one. We've played some people that are big. We've played some people that are fast, but not typically in all 11 positions. And then you add in, the quarterback that's going to be a top first-round draft pick, and how good he is, how special he is, the type of leader and the character that he has. That's the biggest challenge.
The Ducks are no stranger to the Fiesta Bowl. They're making their 4th trip, while the Flames are making their first ever appearance in a New Year's Six bowl game. And even though the Flames are heavy underdogs, they're staying confident.
I think anytime you win 13 games, you believe in yourself, right, and you have confidence. And that confidence is actually our word for this week, is that I think anytime you're playing a team that's ranked higher than you, that's on paper is way better than you in all facets, you start maybe comparing yourself, are you good enough? And our whole theme was that because of what we've overcame, because of what we've had to do to get to this point, that we should have confidence, display that confidence that if we'll go play our best game, then we'll have a great chance of going out there and doing well. And so I think our team believes in each other. They know that we got to play well to beat a great Oregon team. They understand that. But I do believe they're confident that they can go play their best game, and that's all you can ask. We've had good week of prep as far as practice wise. They've been sharp and crisp, and they're ready to get out there and show the country what they believe in themselves.
And hey, it wouldn't be the first time that a group of 5 team beat a Power 5 team in the Fiesta Bowl. Boise State's done it, UCF has done it. It's been about 10 years, but the Flames are hoping to add their name to the list.
Well, every sack is a sack to give back this season. Food Lion Feeds will donate 1,000 meals to a neighbor in need for each Liberty sack this season. So far this year, the Flames have 25 sacks for 149 yards lost on the year. Well, hey, still to come, we hear from the Flames Central squad live at the Fiesta Bowl, plus our impact players and our keys to the game.
So I started with Liberty with dual enrollment, really when I was going to make the next step in my racing career. Take all my classes online, and when I'm going to different races, I have time to do schoolwork, so that's a big deal for me. I feel a ton of support from the Liberty community all over, really. This past year was really special to come up at Convocation and feel that support. So just trying to continue to race all across the country and keep pushing forward.
Dominate, 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 dominate. I did not come to play, I came to dominate, dominate, dominate.
Well, there's a beautiful look at Camelback Mountain just minutes away from the Liberty Flames Hotel for the Fiesta Bowl coming up here shortly at the top of the hour. Well, time to take a look now at our Segra Impact players, and Pat, a lot to choose from. I know there's the transfer portal and there's guys declaring for the draft, but there is still a ton of talent in this game.
Yeah, there really is. You know, when you look at this Oregon team, we've mentioned this 2,000-yard receiver, so one of them is not playing. However, one of them is playing in this game. Plug in Tez Johnson.
Right.
75 catches, 1,010 yards on the season. 10,000 would be amazing.
That would.
9 receiving touchdowns. This is another guy that can just take the top off of the defense. He can win those one-on-one matchups. It's going to be a real treat to watch the one-on-one matchup today that Liberty will have against Tez Johnson.
Yeah, Tez Johnson, I think, is the definition of a slot monster when it comes to a wide receiver. 588 yards after catch.
Busting out the analytics.
Yeah.
I can dig that. Red McGibbon. My goodness.
Cool. Evan Williams, another guy to keep an eye on.
Yeah, so one thing that I like about Evan Williams is he's a secondary defender. Yeah. And when a secondary defender is your leading tackler, it tells you one of two things. It's either, wow, our defense is very bad and the secondary is having to make tackles, or it means he's very aggressive and he's willing to stick his nose in there. As we've already said, this is a very good Oregon defense, so it's not the former of the two, it's the latter. This guy, number 33, will stick his nose in there. Second on the team in sacks as well. A terrific tackler in space. I'm interested to see if he can play in coverage today, but he will stick his nose in there in this run game.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. He has 5 sacks on the season. When they bring on the blitz, he is definitely used in that game. Second most sacks in the FBS from a safety so far this season, so you're going to have to keep an eye out on him. All right, when it comes to the Flames, CJ Daniels, a massive game in the Conference USA Championship, and you're hoping that he can have another performance like that.
Yeah, you know, we talked about the importance of this one-on-one matchups. So Oregon's, they are going to play some man-to-man coverage. They're going to give Liberty some looks where it's cover 1 or cover 0. And this is where CJ Daniels really has to eat. He's been terrific this season, number 2 in the country with 9 catches of over 40 yards. So he's, again, a guy that has proven I can go win that one-on-one matchup. And Salter's going to need him to step up today because they are going to load that box. So CJ Daniels, Trayon Sibley, they're all going to have opportunities, but CJ Daniels really needs to capitalize.
And then also for the Flames, we go back to the secondary, in this case, Brylan Green, Mr. Turnover on the year for LU. He is a guy, when we talk about that turnover margin and battle between Oregon and Liberty, he is going to be front and center.
Yeah, I mean, he really is. Leads this team in interceptions, 38 tackles on the year, 5th in the nation with those interceptions. He's kind of that field general. He's a guy that he's going to be huge in terms of communication. We talk about how much Oregon likes to pass the ball, over 50% of the time. So it's going to be critical that back half, the safeties, the corners, everyone's got to be communicating because all it takes is one guy out of position and then you're in trouble. Brylan Green, he's the guy that can step up today.
All right, let's keep talking about this one-on-one matchup that you've been speaking of. And when you look at the Flames and their secondary, this is a group that has 5 of the top 25 defensive backs in the country when it comes to snaps played at man coverage. And you look at this group, you've got Williams, 17th in the nation, 48.7%. Quentin Reese, 48.6%. Brylan Green is just north of 48% as well. Kobe Singleton is the lowest, and he's over 45%. But then when you flip this and you look at the Oregon wide receivers, they seem pretty comfortable playing against man coverage as well.
Yeah, they sure do. And It helps that Oregon's able to run the ball well. Again, almost 200 rushing yards per game. That's top 15 in the country. And what it does is it puts guys out on islands. It forces your hand from a defensive standpoint. It says, hey, you're either going to load the box and stop the run, and we're going to give our guys one-on-one matchups, or you're going to drop guys out, and we're just going to pound the ball down your throat. So Tez Johnson, Tony Franklin this year, those guys have been terrific. I certainly think we're going to see some one-on-one matchups today. I am thrilled to watch. Again, as a former receiver, I want to watch those outside matchups, see who's winning those one-on-one, those press matchups. I think Liberty's got a lot of potential. Kobe Singleton is a guy that I've loved watching all year. We mentioned that Sam Houston State game earlier this year.
Huge stance
who
by him.
Basically single-handedly won it at the goal line. They're going to need a big performance from this secondary.
And then also you mentioned Franklin declaring for the draft, not going to be playing in the Fiesta Bowl today. That gives an opportunity to some freshmen or sophomores that perhaps has not seen as many snaps throughout the season step up and have a big game. And Oregon has quite a few big body receivers that are itching to make a case for more starting minutes, starting snaps next season.
Yeah, they really do. You know, we talked about Tez Johnson already, 1,000-yard receiver.
Yeah.
One guy that I think could be a mismatch for Liberty is Terrence Ferguson. He's the tight end. He's got over 300 receiving yards on the season. He's got 5 touchdowns. He is someone who, he's big. Again, he can run through you, but he's also shifty. He can make guys miss. I'm excited to watch how Liberty schemes up. Is it a linebacker? Is it a safety against the tight end here? But Oregon has kind of an embarrassment of riches in terms of speed guys. It's this Nike brand, Phil Knight. I'm excited to watch all the speed that's on the field. Really intrigued to see how Liberty dials things up from a defensive perspective.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch, and our team out in Arizona is going to be able to watch it live. We go to them once again.
The Fiesta Bowl is not just about football. I mean, there have been so many planned events and activities for all the players and coaches. It's been such a fun week, full of action. There was one night Liberty and Oregon went out for a joint team dinner. The Flames went to a Phoenix Suns basketball game one night. But it's also an opportunity to give back to the community, and the Flames were able to do that on Friday after practice.
Trey and Simply out here, about to get ready to build some wagons for the little ones. Let's get it going.
We here, we going, we building, NASCAR style.
The Liberty Team Outreach was in partnership with Girl Scouts of Arizona. Players were building 80 wagons for the new Daisy troops that girls will be using during cookie selling season. I asked Coach Chadwell, what's your favorite Girl Scout cookie? And he said all of them, which I think we can all agree with. It was such a great opportunity for the players and coaches to connect with this Arizona community. And you know those Girl Scouts will remember this forever. Stay with us. We'll be right back with more Fiesta Bowl coverage after the break.
Champions are not born. They're made of moments. At Liberty University, we push ourselves in the classroom, on the athletic field, and in the community to go beyond our limits and reach the world for Christ. Every play made, every assignment completed, and each friendship formed is a testament to our dedication to that mission. These moments matter and make us champions. Become a champion for Christ at Liberty University.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's turn it up.
Inbound play, they get it to Smoot Eye. Steenbergen, 2 in a row, yes.
Can't be stopped. I hit my shot, go in. Swish, you wish you could.
Hess plays it in. Bailey rattles it down. Hess with a clean look for the tie. Yes!
Let's go. Let's go. Let's turn it up.
So our daughter Bella did LUOA and she absolutely loved it.
Yeah, and all our kids, it was a little bit different how they did school because when they were in school, Duck Dynasty was going on.
For Bella, it worked out for us to just kind of go all the way homeschool, which that flexibility of being able to do school online and travel with us when she wanted to travel was just a really great blessing. And that's a great thing that LUOA offers is you can kind of move at your own pace, move faster if you need to.
So yeah, that certainly matched up for her.
Flexibility was
for sure
a key. So to be able to have LUOA to like guide her and have actual real life teachers and a whole framework set up was really, really helpful. I would say doing the online academy really prepared Bella for college. It actually, it's a lot of hard work, but the teachers are so great at helping you through it, helping you kind of through that learning curve. And I definitely feel like it really prepared her for what was to come for a college career.
Absolutely beautiful. Look at the desert out there.
Yeehaw! Is that a tumbleweed I see?
I think it is. Well, it's going to be a great day again. The Flames taking on the Ducks in the Verbo Fiesta Bowl coming up. All right, Pat, favorite segment. Time to look at our keys to the game. Start with Oregon and what do they need to do to be successful? And I'm sure a lot of people want to see Oregon fans dominant today.
Yeah, I think the first thing that really comes to mind for me is bully ball. Coming out, dominating in the trenches. We talk about getting pushed, just absolutely dominating physically your opponent. I think that's one thing that Oregon wants and needs to do from an offensive perspective. Running the ball, again, almost 200 yards per game. Defensively up front, allowing less than 100 yards. Be bullies up front. Impose your will on Liberty and show them, hey, this is not your day. That's the first key that I've got. Second key would be you've got to keep Caden contained. Yes, the alliteration there was necessary. Liberty has shown this year that when Caden Salter is able to get out of the pocket, he's dynamic. It allows guys like Trayon Sibley, CJ Daniels to get open for those explosive plays downfield. Oregon has to keep him contained, keep him in the pocket, and allow your pass rush to get home. And then the third for Oregon is just, hey, play your game. This is a team that all season, they've kept the ball, very obviously from an offensive perspective, 40 points per game. But the key to their game is they're disciplined and they do not turn the ball over. They've got 7 turnovers all season long. Right. If they don't turn the ball over, Oregon's going to be okay in this game.
Yeah, I think a big part of that as well is that offensive line. They've just taken care of the quarterback and have also taken care of their running backs. You mentioned just their ability to get push and have won the turnover margin so many times this year. This is going to be a very tough task for the Flames today. And with that, let's take a look at their keys to the game for LU.
Yeah, so for Liberty, this one's big. You hear it coach speak all the time. You've got to start fast. I said this for the conference championship. Don't blink. Mike Tomlin for the Pittsburgh Steelers, head coach, he says, hey, you know what? We may just cut our eyelids off so that we don't blink. It's going to be really important for Liberty to do this. They've been great in terms of first quarter scoring this year, outscoring opponents 143-68. That's going to be important. We talked about Boise and their David versus Goliath upset in that 2007 Fiesta Bowl. They came out to a 14-0 lead. That's going to be important for Liberty. Come out, don't blink. You got to start fast. The second, I just mentioned this bully ball. They've got to get pushed. This offensive line has to show that they're not going to get bullied around. They've got to open up the lanes for Quentin Cooley, get pushed so that he can get downfield, so that he can fall forward, so that this #1 ranked rushing attack can keep doing what they've done all season long. And then the last one is going to be bend, don't break. We talked about this Liberty defense, Sam Houston State, Louisiana Tech. When their best was required, they stepped up. They were able to get stops when they needed. That's going to be big today. Oregon, they're going to have the explosive plays. They're going to score points. It's about coming up with stops at the right opportunity. This team, if they can bend, don't break, maybe force a field goal or two if they get into the red zone, that's going to be pivotal for Liberty today.
I want to go back to your first key for LU, and that was start fast. And my question for you is this. When you look at this Flames team, would it be smart for them not to defer to the second half if they won the coin toss and take the ball first just to get that confidence going and say, hey, we got the ball. We put 7 up on the board. We can hang.
100%. If I'm Jamie Chadwell, that coin toss goes up. It looks down. We win the toss. We're saying, hey, we're receiving this ball. We're putting our offense that has dominated all season on the field. Hey, we're going to drive down 75 yards, go up 7-0, and then let our defense come up and make a stop so that, again, we get that fast start.
Yeah, I like the idea. Best foot forward for the Flames potentially in this one. All right, time for our game picks. And with that, one last time, we go to Arizona with Matt, Joe, and Emily.
I'm nervous about this. The game picks. I mean, we already did our game predictions and bold predictions on the Flame Central podcast, so I think I'm going to stick
you
with...
better stick with it.
Matt Warner's on an island. He's on an island.
We're going to put him out of the shot.
We're teaming up
Yeah, we're teaming up. Right. I'm wearing my lucky red Flame suit. I'm going 52. It's a shootout. It's going to be a shootout. 52-49, Flames, baby. I think Kobe Singleton is going to make a huge play.
Oh, they're going to stop him.
They're going to make a huge stop.
Wow, okay.
Bo Nix, get out of here. Get out of here.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
We got time for that.
I have a little more respect for Bo Nix than Emily does, and also respect him as a person a lot more than she does.
No,
apparently.
that's not true. I have a lot of respect for
I think it's going to
Bo.
be a close game in the second
I
half.
just believe in the Flames.
I think Liberty's going to be tight, but I think down the stretch, Oregon's going to pull away 45-27.
Can you believe this guy?
Yeah.
Bo Nix, the most veteran quarterback in all of college football, one of the best
Can't
quarterbacks
believe
in
it.
all of college football. He's going to be tough to stop. I think it's going to be a great showing by Liberty. They're going to move the ball. They're going to score, but have a little bit of a hard time slowing down the Ducks. So 45-27, Oregon ends up winning.
If you didn't listen to the Flame Central podcast, Joe had a great pregame speech.
Fired up.
Are you actually going in to do it with the guys right now?
I'm going to do it with the guys right
Yeah,
now.
okay. So give us
Jamie
a
said
little.
I could do it before the day before.
Give us a little taste of what it was about the
Well,
checkpoints.
I mean, this is checkpoint 14.
Right.
And I think checkpoint 14, one of the biggest things in my game prediction is this, is that Caden Salter, K-Salt, is tired of hearing nothing about Bo Nix.
Right.
There's a new sheriff in town. It's time for the old Bo to go out, and there's a new sheriff in town. And I think Caden Salter's going to play with a chip on his shoulder.
He is.
Right? He's going to take it. They're going to be down 45-42. They're going to get the ball on their own 20-yard line with 3.5
We're going
minutes to go.
specific.
And he's going 80 yards, and he's going to hit Von Blue in the end zone
Let's
on an
go.
angle route. Flames win 49-45.
That boy
Paint it
Blue.
up.
That boy Blue.
That's my boy Blue.
It is getting crazy.
Can't wait. Let's kick this thing off.
Let's kick this thing off. It's been super fun. If you want to stay connected, we'll have so much coverage on all of our Liberty Flames social media accounts. So stay in the loop because we're gonna hang out for a couple more days. I think. I'm
if
not
my
really
wife's
sure.
watching, I may be staying out here a little longer than I initially said. This weather's too nice.
Yeah.
Take care of the kids for now.
But we're really excited about the game. I'm hoping it's Flames, baby.
We're all hoping.
Go Flames.
Thanks, guys. Great coverage by Matt, Joe, and Emily out in Arizona for this game. All right, Pat, put you on the spot. What's your game pick today?
Yeah, I've gone back and forth. I keep teetering. As I watch each of these teams play, break down the film a little bit. I think these teams are going to trade blow for blow, especially in the first half. I think where Oregon starts to pull away is early in the second half. I've got Oregon coming out on top in this one, 40, Liberty 24.
There's always an unsung hero for the Flames, and we'll just stick to LU in this. Who is your guy that's going to show up and have a great bowl game?
I really think that Trayon Sibley, who he's been absent a little bit over the course of the last couple of weeks, whether it's injury, whether it's just game planning in general, I think he'll have an opportunity. Again, like we talked about, Oregon may load the box a little bit, give you some one-on-one matchups. I think he's got a chance today.
Well, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. 1 p.m. on ESPN, Flames and Ducks, the Verbo Fiesta Bowl. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. For Pat Kelly, I'm Rhett McGibbon. Enjoy the game.